Welcome back to Recovering from Everything, a podcast for everyone who's ever had anything happen to them ever. I am Kinga. I'm your host. You have either known me for a very little bit. This is your first episode. You've known me for possibly all 5 seasons of this show. And if you're really unlucky, you've known me a lot longer. I thought we would do a little something different today. There was something in my email, or it was in my, I struggle keeping my DMs and my emails straight. Someone reached out to me somewhere, and my own story kind of came up in the communications. And so I thought this episode would be about my story, my relationship with alcohol, my relationship with myself. There's bits and pieces of it all throughout this podcast, and there's a bunch of it in my free masterclass. But I don't think I've done a podcast where I kind of just mention it all. So we'll do that. And this is my backyard. Welcome. I took my nails off. Ugh, they're embarrassing. I love having long nails, and I had those long nails for almost 2 straight years, or 18 months, a straight 18 months at least. But they are so inconvenient. I wear contact lenses, so I see my life flash before my eyes every night when I take those out. And typing, impossible. It's just typo city. So I've really been suffering with those gorgeous long nails, I'll tell you. But I had them taken off a couple weeks ago, and the ladies at the nail place who see me every 2 to 3 weeks were like, we think you're going to be back really soon. And I don't think they're wrong. Anywho, I'm feeling like I need to reduce any and all amounts of stress. I am deep into my perimenopausal transformation, and you guys, some of you know anyway, if you follow me on Instagram, I never shut the hell up about it, but I haven't slept in 3 months. And despite taking the progesterone, the HRT, my sleep is still affected. So I doubled my progesterone during the day last week. So hopefully it starts to get a little bit better. I have really noticed an improvement in my mental health, which is very nice because it was dark. Not that it's not dark right now, but I have noticed an improvement. So that's kind of nice. I talked to some of my women about this, and a couple of them have been like, I literally just drank through my perimenopause. And I'm like, I could see why that would be appealing, frankly, but also how, because so many of us use alcohol as an emotional kind of safety net, or an emotional number, an emotional, you turn to it when emotions are high, when emotions are low, when emotions exist. I could see how that would be a really great reason to really go hard. The thing I've been thinking the most about lately is taking up smoking again. Okay, I smoked cigarettes for a very long time, and in my lifetime it stopped being chic and cool. Anyway, I keep thinking about smoking cigarettes, but here's the thing. So anyone who knows me, I quit smoking a long time ago, but I switched to vaping. So I still vape. There you go. There it is. I still vape, but over the years of my vaping, I've reduced the amount of nicotine. So I went down, 20 to 12 to, I think it was like 6 to 3 to 0. So I got to 0 last November. I've been vaping 0 nicotine. It literally is just like a hand to mouth situation for my gorgeous ADHD brain. So you might see me vape on this episode. But I have just been thinking about taking up smoking again. But I'm not, because to go from 0 nic to what's even in cigarettes, like I don't even, 20, 50, oh my God, I think I would like throw up and like probably pass out. And that's just, who's got the time, right? Though a nap does sound pretty good. Anyways, I've been managing my perimenopause as well as I can. And I am taking good care of my body. I am eating so much and with a focus on fiber to balance my estrogen levels. I'm working out very intentionally. Like yesterday, I had all the energy in the world. I had such a great sleep. I had a big meal. I worked out. I feel like I could have thrown a car. Like I worked out like crazy. I went into full beast mode. Last night, didn't sleep. There was a thunderstorm. My window's open because I'm always sweaty, and the wind was so bad, and it was like raining like on my face. And then the anxiety was kicking in, and so anyways, so today I just took my dog for a long walk, and then went for a long hike, doing some passive admin stuff. Just being very like intentional and delicate and gentle and understanding and compassionate of the absolutely obscene things that my body is going through during the phase of perimenopause. I ended a relationship. I put some relationships on pause. I just am very like, I feel like I've done so much self-improvement over the years, coming from a place of, and you'll remember this in my the biggest lie that anyone ever told me a few episodes back. I've done so much self-improvement on the basis that I was broken and that something was wrong and something needed fixing. For the first time in my whole life, I am kind of just like gently cradling myself and being like, nothing's wrong, right? I'm having the exact responses physiologically and mentally to perimenopause that I should be having, just textbook case. So I'm not treating myself like I am broken or wrong, and so therefore I need HRT, and therefore I need to work out, and therefore I need to eat more, and yada, yada, yada. I am treating myself very compassionately. Like, I'm looking at myself and being like, this chick is going through it, and how can I best support her? And that means cutting some people out that are like very stressful or not good, legitimately bad for my nervous system, for my mental state, moving slowly on the days that I'm tired. Like, who knew, right? And this is the irony of this is stuff that I already had learned, and it's stuff that's built into my curriculum in the women's program, but I feel like it's almost like next level right now, like kind of like put your money where your mouth is. Like, we know Kinga can take care of herself, but like, how well is she going to take care of herself now, right? The stakes are much higher. Anyway, so that's kind of what's been going on lately. And you'll have to forgive me if I vape on this episode, because I am being so kind to myself about that. I am not putting any kind of pressure on me to eliminate that. Really, eliminating nicotine while I was in the middle of like a perimenopausal crisis was the dumbest thing that I could have done to myself. But we did it, and there's no going back. So I will just be vaping 0 nic. and just thanking God that I haven't picked up a cigarette yet. And it might not happen, but it might. And we will show compassion for Kinga if it does. All right, let's get into the episode of my story with my relationship with alcohol. Thank you for listening to this 10-minute intro. I'm so sorry. Those who love me, and those who don't probably ended this episode many minutes ago. So, all right, let's get into it. Here is the story of my love affair with alcohol. Okay, there was one episode many moons ago where I read my diary from ninth grade. Okay, 14 years old. I think I had just turned 14. Yes, I had, because it was November. So 14 years old, had my first drink, my first drunk, which was so fun. My first kiss, also that night. And I'm pretty sure that's, 99% of people's relationship with alcohol began around that age. And, some people either loved it or some people were like, meh, that's not for me, and then picked it back up later in life. So my own personal story and journey is that I loved it. And I just loved how social I was. I loved how funny and light everything was. I loved the feeling of like fitting in. Also the kind of like rebellion that came with it felt really great. Now, if we think about all those things that I loved about my first drunk, that one Saturday afternoon in November in whatever year that was, 1997. 1997. Okay, 900 years ago. Um, I what I loved about alcohol was that it gave me the exact opposite of what was happening in my life. I did not feel free. I felt very oppressed. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere. I did not feel like I belonged, in my family. I was always getting in trouble for something. Um, Someone was always upset with me. I just felt inherently like wrong. So, but not when I was drinking. So, I made sure to keep that level in my drinking as often as possible. Later in adulthood, when I started to work and, I had my own apartment, I would, I would ride the I was in Toronto, so I would ride the TTC, and my end stop was Bloor, and Bloor station had a liquor store right in the station, which was the most convenient. Okay, unheard of, like unheard of. Anyways, so I would stop and I would get a bottle of something. I don't know, whatever was like $7 at the time, and or I would like splurge on like the big bottles, just the grossest wine imaginable. But I was not in it for the flavor. I was in it because it felt very adulty to me to come home from work and have a drink, but also it was kind of like punctuation on my day, like um punctuation, like a period, but then like a next chapter almost. Like it was the part of the day that I probably looked most forward to because I could check the hell out of my body, of my brain. Um, I had a roommate at the time and her boyfriend was there sometimes, and it was just like it was just I look back on those days very fondly despite knowing that I was just going deeper and deeper into the spiral. I do look at those fondly because I I know how like relaxed I felt. And I love that for me because that was um not a consistent state of being for me ever. So, which thank God, like it kind of is now. I worked really hard to make that consistent for myself. So when it's not, oh my God, I'm just like, but I know instantly when something's off. Anywho, okay, so yeah, that the after work, and I had like a kind of like a cool marketing job. Um, and it was a startup and it was like fun and the staff was like pretty young and like our boss was cool and like we had a bar in like our office, and it was just a really fun time. Like it was, I was working down at Queen West, and um it just was like a really very like coming of age sort of like time for me. But I can see now that like the foundations that I was establishing, literally drinking every day, for XYZ reasons, were getting so much more ingrained in me. So it went from like binge drinking and being like just, partying and drinking was very like a social out there thing to I was drinking at home alone. I didn't need anybody. Not to say that I wasn't partying, but like that wasn't every day. And every day it was like me and a bottle of wine. And like if my roommate was there, she was there. And if her boyfriend was there, he was there. But like it wasn't I was drinking at home alone. So of course, at the time, it didn't like register, right? And now I'm like, oh, girl. Um, but it was still the feelings that I was like chasing were the same. Freedom, maybe not so much rebellion because I thought I was doing like I thought I was living the way adults lived, right? Um, but yeah, freedom, just relaxation, fun, kind of get the giggles. Um, and at some point, alcohol had turned on me before, multiple times, probably times that I don't even remember, and other people could probably be like, "Oh yeah, you did this one thing this one time that was like really annoying or scary or whatever." But um alcohol started turning on me in such an insidious way, in that I I was going to work um a million percent. I was doing my job totally, right? I was getting up, I was getting dressed, putting on my little friggin' corporate outfits or whatever. And what was changing for me was like my connection with myself and my connection with the like outside world. Like it became a struggle for me to leave my apartment to do something social. I would get very panicky. Um, uh, what I know now is like ADHD symptoms, just being overstimulated, just that like whole neurodivergence world. I know that now. Um, but I would get overstimulated, right? And so I can see now all the reasons why alcohol made so much sense for me. Like I am grateful that it was there. I'm grateful that I did have a safety net for um all of my heavy intense feelings, for my uh uh tendency to get overstimulated really easily. Um Sounds, lights, talking, movement, like if you know me now, like you know I need like 3 to 5 business days to like recover from like talking too much. Um so I'm so grateful that alcohol was there for that, cuz nobody else was helping me. I'll tell you that, right? Like I was like the problem child, and I was like the crazy friend and um yeah, I was like I had gone to therapy. Um but no one was freaking going to therapy at the time, right? It was like I was going to therapy because I was like crazy and like had like a wealth of like mental issues or like whatever the narratives were. Um Back in the early 2000s, nobody was going to therapy, I'll tell you that. I was. Um Anywho, so I'm really glad that alcohol was there, and that I did meet like a couple of good a couple of good therapists for sure. Anywho, I really didn't, I knew the impact that alcohol had on me, on my life, on my relationships. And you know what? Maybe there is that sense of rebellion that was kind of like the undercurrent. Like I had been so controlled and so oppressed that in my teens I developed like basically like a second secret life that like my parents didn't know anything about. Um so just, when you oppress someone or something like like a caged animal or something, like they're going to rebel and they're going to come out and they're going to be pissed. So maybe that was a part of it, the rebellion. So I knew that the impact that alcohol had on my relationships and arguments with friends or with boyfriends, um, the kind of like walking the very thin line of like getting in trouble, um, right? Like even just like being hungover at work or sounded like a like spaceship just flew past my house. Um, being hungover at work or coming in late sometimes if I had to, like if I was really feeling like really gross or um just just kind of everything that comes with drinking consistently. Like I knew I was really pushing the limits in a lot of different aspects of my life. And that's why I'm like, maybe there was a sense of rebellion that I was holding on to. Like, let's see how far I can take this. Like, let's because I want to do what I want to do kind of thing. And I see that in some of my clients too, especially my clients that were sort of bred into like people pleasing roles in their families. There is a little, just like a touch of rebellion that comes out for us. I mean, I was conditioned into people pleasing. I was scared into people pleasing. I was shamed into people pleasing. You think I'm a people pleaser? No. I'm the opposite. I will tell everyone to fuck off. Anyway, eventually. But first, I will resent you for years. Um, Anywho, so I knew the impact that alcohol had on me and my life and my relationships, but I had never seriously considered eliminating it. Like the problem was always me. It wasn't the alcohol, right? If someone was mad at me, it was because I have a big mouth and I yelled at them or I said something dumb. It wasn't like, oh, no, you were also drunk and you were drinking and this is what you're like when you're drinking. And, even if I was like at home with like alone, like there's texts, there's calls, or I'm ignoring people or Facebook or whatever, right? Like, and so it it didn't occur to me for the longest time that it was like not me. It was the alcohol. Like it wasn't like I was malfunctioning or I was inherently a terrible person or whatever. It was like, yeah, because like you and alcohol like don't go well together anymore. Like eventually that occurred to me. And like how freeing that is to be like, "Oh, I'm not the biggest piece of shit in the whole world." It's that like my body and my brain no longer are agreeing with alcohol. I can't stop drinking, but okay. At least like now I know like there's like a move, right? There's like an action item. So, it wasn't until this like very corporate job that I started to really see how not just how different I felt around like normal people, but truly how differently I drank from other people. Like I you guys, some of you have heard me say this, but like I worked in like corporate affairs and was my department. And um, it was this very like hoity-toity job that I had no business being in as I record my podcast in a hoodie in my backyard. Like, you know what I mean? I did a good job, I think, though, and I was always like always really good at my jobs. I just pushed the limits and pushed the boundaries, and it started becoming more obvious that I drank differently than other people, other adults. And I know my husband at the time was like embarrassed of me, which feels and felt, it felt at the time terrible. And I do wish someone had had my back a little bit more, because shame is a powerful motivator, um, but it's the fucking worst one because it leads the person that you're trying to change into resenting you, and they will hate you. Um, and we've obviously amicably divorced 1,000 years ago, but I can still sometimes pick up on sort of like residual tensions between us because we went through a lot. Um, so anyways, I again stuck out like a sore thumb. And I would just try these little like, I remember even like, getting all these like books. Anyway, I try all these like different little things, whatever. Basically I was like something's got to give because like I had pushed the boundaries or like pushed the envelope of my life so much in so many different little pockets that I had like reached a point where I was getting like scared, and like it was just kind of like um it would be dumb for me to continue doing that given how good my life was. Right at the time, I had a wonderful marriage. I had a great job. Our lives were starting. Right, we'd bought a house. Uh, anyways, so there was this. I was away with the corporate affairs team at a conference, and there was an open bar, and I got blackout, and it was like a Monday. It was like a Monday night, and that was kind of like my final straw. Like I was just like this. I woke up that next morning. It was horrible. I had like knocked over at some point in some drunken stupor, knocked over my contact lens case in the hotel bathroom. We were out of town, so we were staying there for, it was like a 2 night thing or 1 night thing, whatever. Um, and I knocked over my contact lenses, and so they were like the fluid had like leaked out, and they were like crunchy, crispy, dry, and I couldn't get them in my eyeballs. And it was like 8 a.m. and I think I had gone to bed at like 3, and I had to like be down for conferencing, right, schmoozing and morning muffins and coffees before the rest of the conference that day. Oh my God, it was the worst. That was the worst morning of my life. I've experienced so many bad mornings, and that one was just horrific, only because the gap between what I had become and the life I was living was so wide. Like it was huge. It had never been that wide before. Uh, ugh. Anyways, I made it down. I threw on my glasses. I put on some outfit. I made it down. Um, and this man like approached me and was like, I think like something's wrong. And I was like, oh my God. like with my drinking. Like he's like, you like something's going on. He's like, my dad drank a lot, and like I see like I literally was like, who are you? But no, he was one of the speakers at the conference, and I guess we had like partied the night before, but he was sober, so he remembered it all. And yeah, he was like, my dad drank a lot, and I see similar things in you. I was like, this is my rock bottom. Like this is it. A total stranger that had just met me the day before is like, something's up with your relationship with alcohol. So all the kind of like bullshit things that I had done before. And if you've ever seen any of my like ads or read any of my emails, like it's all bullshit, okay? Because I had a perfect life, and I like would go into these AA meetings, and it would be like 65-year-old men being like, who used to like drink in like hotel lobbies or like hotel restaurants. Okay. Um, or these like really down and out people. I don't feel safe with men, and I don't want to work with them. I really don't. And there was maybe, two or three men in there that like I felt not threatened by, but like I don't I don't want to be around men. They're disgusting. They're predators, and I'm done with them. Right? They have felt very entitled to experience me for my whole entire life, and that is not who I wanted to be fucking vulnerable in front of. What I needed was women like me, women that were well educated, had great jobs, had good relationships, right? Just had this like nagging self-esteem stuff, and a weird relationship with alcohol that at the same time as was harmful was also like really freaking helpful. um and someone, just being around women that I could talk to in like a very real way, like, and I mean, apps at the time were like, this was back in the day of like 2012. So there was like some sobriety apps. I do remember using like a sober counter and had like a thought for the day, and like, okay, like that still doesn't tell me like why I want to fucking put fermented poison into my body every night, but like, cool, I'm glad I know what day it is. Um and like books, I did get a bunch of books, which like, okay, like educating yourself on a certain subject matter is cool, but like, how am I supposed to implement this? Like, what am I supposed to do with this information? So, being the freaking overachiever that I am, it was like it was a combination of a lot of things. Like, I love 12 step, and I think the principles behind it, some of them are so cool and so helpful. A lot of it is unrelatable, rigid, shame driven, and fueled by like very black and white ideas of like pass or fail, which fuck that. That's not for me. And that's not for my clients either, right? Like, not some of my clients want to quit drinking and do quit. But the mentality of like pass or fail, or like, like, uh, the idea of like relapse, like, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here with that. Um, anyways. And I also was in therapy because I don't think I've stopped going to therapy. Like, there've been like a couple years here and there. Maybe actually probably not. Anyways, but I was like really, really, really interested in this stuff, and it was all like, just the way that it had never occurred to me that my relationship with alcohol was reflective of so much else. Going all the way back to, what the way that I was programmed to see myself and to see the world and to see, you know, how I show up in the world, like all of that programming went into my relationship with alcohol. And I discovered this through reading books, doing a lot of therapy, going to AA, using the apps, like all of it, all of it, all of it together. Anyways, I did piece together um, kind of like a deeper, very self love, self empowered kind of process that it's so I was just gonna say, like, I still use it to this day. It's not, no, it's like ingrained in me. It's who I am. It is the way that I think. um it's yeah, it's empowering, it's compassionate, it's understanding. It is like action items, right? Doing or writing or drawing or talking or just like a lot of like analysis. I'm a big psychoanalysis like freak. So like I love all that stuff, and then like implementation of that stuff, or just like observing when it comes up, and then like shifting things in the moment. And sometimes the shift is just like literally the way you're talking to yourself in your head. Anyway, so I pieced that together. And what's interesting is when I was in university, I got an honors degree, you guys. I was drunk for 5 years, and I also was smoking a lot of weed and hash through university. So the fact that I got an honors degree is probably my favorite thing in the whole world. um, I minored in social work. And so I had like a lot of, I'd taken a lot of courses in social development studies and psych courses, sociology courses, whatever. I really, really, really just like, there was a part of me that wanted to help. I majored in professional writing because, guys, if nothing else, okay, I told you I was drunk for 5 years. Um, Getting this honors degree, and the reason it took me 5 years is I did not want to move back home after university. So I dragged that the fuck out, and I'm still paying off my student loans. Anyways, but literally the only thing that I could do, drunk, hungover, whatever, is work with the English language. So I got an honors degree in professional writing. Um, and I minored in social development, in social work, so social development studies. And I always wanted to help. And in this like weird roundabout way, like I had to go through my own stuff before I could help other women do that. Um, it's so beautiful to me, and it like makes all the like crying and the pain and the anger and the frustration and the confusion just kind of all like worth it. I've been sober, alcohol free now for today actually 13 years and 8 months, you guys. 13 years and 8 months. And like the amount of people that I've helped. Anyways, so I went back to school when when things really started to like work for me, and I like started getting, I just felt like very comfortable in like the way that I was doing things. Went back to school for substance use counseling, and yeah, like obviously graduated, had a baby also in between there, but I started working I got hired in this industry before I even graduated school. Anyways, it's been a long time. So, it's been well over 10 years. I forget, like 11 years. Anyways, um, I started, so I still had, despite meeting women who were like me, and despite knowing how important it was to meet women like me, I still felt like an anomaly. Like I still felt like me meeting women and working with women who were like me, who were afflicted with the same relationship with alcohol that I was an anomaly. I was lucky, and there wasn't more of us out there, and somehow we had found each other, whatever. So I still felt very like an outsider. And then when I started working in the industry, and I worked in withdrawal management services for a long time, which has a really quick high turnover. I started seeing women that started like shattering my stereotypes of what I thought like alcohol misuse looked like. And it was women like me. Like it was just like regular, great jobs, beautiful families, like looked put together. And I saw them needing a lot of help. And so I eventually started working in the inpatient rehab that was in our building. So I got to spend like longer time with them. Like in withdrawal management, it was like 3 days to maybe 7 or 8 days, like tops. But in the treatment, in the program I was running, it was 3 weeks. Oh my gosh. And we were like in group all day, like from 10 to 3, 10 to 4, 10 to 3, something like that. So, it was like really, really special. And that was like easily my favorite kind of portion of my career. I I started going deeper and deeper with these clients, and I started what I now know was there's I I was a counselor technically, but I was a coach. Like I was a coach before I officially became a coach. Um, the implementation and the okay, we've dug up, we've excavated this information now. Like what do we do with it? Tonight when you call your husband, this is a way that we could maybe implement this, right? So it became very like, let's change actually. Let's like, you know, stumble over ourselves and like make these positive changes. Um I loved those years. I loved those years. And of course, because I like was so interested in this stuff, I just kept learning more and learning more about it. So, which is, I have my base program, the Self Control Solution for my women, but I also have an Ascension program, Transformation Mastery, and in Mastery we do like deep, deep, deep stuff, but also implement it that day. So pretty cool. Um, I haven't like I think because the depth and sort of like abundance, like when I threw myself into this, I threw myself into it. Like I was like, well, this is my life now and this is who I am. So I've only had a couple of cravings over the years. Actually, only one now that no, two I remember. And they were so one was very fleeting and one was like run for your life. Like it was February in Canada and I literally found running shoes and like went for a run because it was just so 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 intense. And then the other one was I was in Mexico with my husband and our daughter at the time and um with my husband at the time and our daughter. My daughter stayed constant. My husband did not. Anyways, and we were like in a restaurant, people were drinking wine and I was like, "Oh, like how normal those people are, right?" And I just kind of like longed for, and maybe it wasn't necessarily the alcohol, but I just kind of longed to feel normal again. Which is why like it's so important in our community, like that is the community. It's like a place where we all feel completely normal. Um, right? Like us women talking about going on vacations and our spouses and our kids and our grandkids and whatever and jobs and retirements and just like how um kind of like insidious alcohol is in those things and like you don't you don't have to be down and out and your life doesn't have to look like this like depressing, kind of like blue gray scale as like it does in the movies for you to um get help with like untangling alcohol from your life. And I'm not abstinence based and like frankly, I think like I love that cuz there are no rules, there is no failing. Um and we use uh drinking or over drinking or feeling like you have lost control like the night before or whatever as like data mining. Like we'll look at, okay, how are you feeling? We'll look at the context and like, would you have done anything differently? And then like sometimes women will be like, I had 3 drinks and like, I don't even feel bad about it. And like, this is shit they used to like, they were so ashamed about that they couldn't even talk, right? That they had to like meet with a stranger they met on the internet, me, right? To like confess their deepest, darkest sins. And they were like, yeah, I had 3 drinks last night. Like I got a little tipsy and like, honestly, fuck the world. Like I'm a grown up and I can do whatever I want. And like, it doesn't take away from who I am. And I never act like this and I never do it. And maybe like it was okay. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. Like let's less self-hating. Yeah. Cause that's the undercurrent of everything, right? Like we built these beautiful lives, but there's like something within us that's like, don't let yourself enjoy anything. Nothing, none of it. Do not enjoy any of it. And if we do, God forbid, enjoy, half of our day, well, we're going to sabotage that by the end of the night, aren't we? So this is all the stuff that we work diligently through all this stuff. There's assignments that are targeted to each kind of like specific part of your psyche and your life and your relationships. Because that's all the stuff that as I continue on my own kind of path of evolution, that's all stuff that's important. And so I give that to all of my ladies, and like, what a way to give back. You know what I mean? That minor that I got in social work that took me 5 years to get. This is the way I'm giving back. It's hilarious. It is hilarious. Life has a sense of humor. Sometimes it's very dark. But anyways, that's my story. I mean, most of it, like there's a lot of details that, if you were a fly on the walls of my therapist's office, you'd be like, holy shit, girl. But we'll save those. Maybe not for the pod. Maybe for the pod. Anyways, all right. That's it. I hope this has been helpful to someone. I hope this episode does well. I'll see if I can market it and promote the hell out of it, just so it gets to like the ears and the eyes of the women it needs to reach. Thank you for listening to another episode of Recovering from Everything, a podcast for everyone who has ever had anything happen to them ever, including having an entanglement with alcohol. Love you. See you soon. Bye.